my God, stop potting off in the living room.
Welcome to another episode of Stop Potting Off in the Living Room. My name is Daniel. In this episode, I had the pleasure of interviewing somebody who I've truly been lucky to get to know over the years. He did give us a really fun, lengthy interview. So without further delay, here it is. Okay, so on the phone right now with me is Scott Randolph. He's Steve-O's.
What's up?
He is Steve-O's tour manager and co-producer.
That's right. What's going on, Daniel El Paso? I have you in my phone as Daniel El Paso.
Oh, hell yeah.
But you're not Daniel El Paso anymore. What are you?
Oh, man, now I'm Daniel Fort Worth.
How is Fort Worth?
Well, I would say to start calling me Daniel Fort Worthless.
Why? You're not doing shit out there or what?
Nah, it's cool, man. It's pretty cool out here.
Well, we're going to be out in Dallas. When are we going to be out there? Like in a couple months?
Yeah, April 5th and 6th, I believe.
Yeah, dude. Are you going to fucking pick us up or what?
You bet your ass I am. I got my tickets for the Friday show.
Why'd you get tickets? Who would have hooked you up?
For real?
Yeah, of course. Can you get your money back?
I could maybe cancel the payment, but I honestly don't mind supporting Steve-O.
Okay, well, do whatever you want to do, but next time, you never have to pay for tickets anywhere you go.
Well, I'll tell you what, I was actually gonna tell you right now that I was gonna get tickets for the second show as well.
Yeah, dude. Well, we got you on the second show then if you want to roll.
Awesome, man.
Yeah, dude. So am I the first guest on your podcast?
You're the very first guest on my podcast.
What do you want to talk about? What is your top 5 movie list of 2019?
Okay, so what do you think of Detective Pikachu? Are you going to see it?
No.
No Detective Pikachu. You're not a Pokemon fan.
No, I'm not I'm 35 years old.
I'm not a
I never even I didn't even know there was a Pikachu movie coming out.
Okay. What about Sonic?
What else?
What about Sonic the Hedgehog? That's 4th on the list.
No. I don't know. Is it a cartoon? Gotta be.
It's I believe it's live action.
Dude, I can't really get into. I'm just weird about movies. I'll know whether I'm gonna like a movie or not within the first 5 seconds. So I don't think Sonic the Hedgehog is gonna do me in. I didn't even like Sonic the Hedgehog on Sega because I was more of a Nintendo guy.
Oh, that makes me sad.
I know. Well, I was more of on Sega. I was a Battle Axe guy.
Oh, Battle Axe.
Yeah. That's the only thing I remember.
Well, what about the Child's Play remake, which is number 3 on my list?
Can't do Child's Play remakes either.
Why not?
I don't know. Do you think it's going to be scary?
I really don't know. I mean, I don't know if they're going to replace Brad Dourif as his voice. I don't even know if Chucky's going to have a human voice because they're not going to go the whole route of voodoo like they did in the original series.
Do you know how they made Chucky go when he was running after somebody?
Yeah, there were shots where they would have a midget dressed as Chucky, and then they'd pull the camera far back. And then there were shots where he would be he'd be connected to a machine, and then they would just kind of move him and play with the camera a little bit and make it look like he's chasing him.
I think it was electric roller skates or motorized roller skates or something like that. Dude, I'm pulled over on Coast Highway right here, and these cars are coming pretty close to me, so I'm scooting up a little bit.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So what other movies you got on the list?
Okay, at number 2, I have Toy Story 4.
Can't do it.
You can't do Toy Story 4?
Nah, it's a cartoon. You gotta really I don't know. Let me hear what number 1 is.
All right, we'll skip Toy Story 4 entirely. You didn't see the trilogy of Toy Story?
I saw the first one, I think.
Well, that's all that matters because that's the best one.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Once you get to that, unless it's Rocky 4, what's number 1?
Okay, so at number 1 on the list, I have John Wick 3.
There you go. Yeah, I'm down to see anything John Wick related.
Now we're talking.
I liked the first one a lot. I thought it was really cool, and it was probably done really like. I just feel like the first one, like they weren't sure that it was going to be like such a hit.
They didn't have a cliffhanger.
Right, and then it wasn't a big production, but it was so badass. Was John Wick 1 or 2 the one with the car scene where he just like they crashed the car and he like goes out the door or something like that?
That was John Wick 2.
Yeah, that was a good scene.
Where they hit the car and he falls out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a phenomenal shot. And I still wonder Keanu Reeves must have really did that, right?
I think he does all his own shit.
Yeah,
he's like a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and I saw a thing with him at the shooting range, like practicing for John Wick, where he actually like runs all over and shoots a target. Like he's a badass.
Which John Wick did you like the most, the first or second?
Probably the first, just because it was like so new. The second one was really good. I'm always like guessing that the second one's going to be shittier, but it was really good. But the first one was so original, you know. Tell me, what would you say the top 5 standout of all time to you?
Okay, so this might piss some people off on the internet because it's a top 5 comedy list because my favorite genre is comedy, and most people would have like Pulp Fiction and stuff like that in their top 5 movie list. So my top 5 would have to be the first one would be Happy Gilmore.
Mm-hmm.
Second one would be Grandma's Boy.
Mm-hmm.
Third would be Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle.
Okay.
Fourth would be Clerks. The first one.
Yeah.
And fifth would have to be Team America.
Okay. You know, it's funny, I've never seen Team America.
No way.
Yeah, but that came out like in 2006, right? 2005?
Yeah, it's old.
Yeah, I remember a lot of people would always say like, fuck yeah, or whatever they said.
Yeah, that's an awesome song, man. It makes more sense in the movie.
Well, I like your list. I think my list, I want to say, would be... it's hard to put in... okay, let's see. For sure. I would, in no particular order, I would say Cool Hand Luke, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, Shawshank Redemption. I'm going to have to go with Ace Ventura 1, just because it was so classic. And I don't really have a number 5. I mean, if you give me a genre, I could tell you, you know.
There's no action movie. There's no drama you'd put in your 5.
Not that it's my favorite. Like, I'm sure there's a lot better ones. Have you ever seen the movie Running Scared with Paul Walker?
I have.
That's pretty fucking badass.
Yeah, that's an amazing movie. That's one of my favorite Paul Walker movies.
That was non-stop action.
Yeah, it really was. I like the accent that he puts in on the movie.
Yeah, it was like an East Coast accent. Yeah, that was a really good movie, and I think it went straight to video.
Oh, did it really?
I don't know. I remember seeing it on like Netflix or something.
Yeah, that's how I saw it. I saw it on the DVD.
You know the best movie on Netflix that like I always recommend to people, but now I can't find it, and I think they took it off. It was a movie called Headhunters.
Headhunters.
And it was a Norwegian movie. It was with the dude from Game of Thrones, one of the Lannisters, the guy that has like the missing hand.
Oh, really?
So there's this art thief, and he makes his living going around and stealing people's art. He's like a con man, and he steals that guy's fucking artwork, right? Well, that guy was an government tracker. Like he worked for the military, and his specialty was tracking people.
Oh,
and
wow.
so, like, as soon as he fucking grabs this guy's shit, like, the whole movie is the guy trying to get away from this guy, and it's so fucking nonstop. And there's some things in there that, like, I've never seen in a movie before. It's pretty cool.
Wow, I gotta check that out, because I do like him. He plays Jaime Lannister in Game of Thrones.
Jaime Lannister, that's right. Yeah, dude.
And you speaking of Game of Thrones, have you watched the whole series?
I have them all cut up. I'm waiting for, was it season 9?
Oh, that's gonna be insane, isn't it?
They're only doing like 6 episodes, right?
Yeah, 6 1-hour episodes.
Yeah, I mean, like, the cool thing about, like, the later you get in the Game of Thrones, like, in the seasons, like, the less, like, stories are going on. Right? So, like, in the beginning, like, the first season, there was, like, they'd cut to, like, 9 different scenes, right? And then you'd have to, like, there'd be, like, you know, one person in one scene, and then, like, as the seasons grew, like, they started teaming up, and then, like, they would stop. They wouldn't have to cut to so many different storylines in the story.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like, there's so many layers upon layers of story on season 1, and it just kind of loses layers as the seasons go on. So 2, 3, 4.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's pretty much right now, it's like down to, like, Khaleesi's squad, which is everybody, and then everybody else is the Lannister squad, right? 2 of them.
Yeah, all the main characters, like, up against each other in teams of 2.
I'm done for that shit, dude.
I can't wait, man. What'd you think when, you know, that ice guy, he's a White Walker? Is that what they're called?
Yeah.
And he kind of reminds me of Darth Maul.
Who's Darth Maul?
Darth Maul from Star Wars Episode 1.
Dude, I don't even remember Star Wars.
Oh.
Like, bro, like, I saw the original Star Wars, and then I saw the next 3.
You saw
and then they lost. And then they lost me when they started making 15 more.
Wow, so Star Wars just didn't do it for you, huh? Yeah, a bunch of people are falling off with Star Wars because especially the last movie that came out, not Solo, but The Last Jedi, really pissed everybody off, myself included, and I'm not even a big Star Wars fan.
I'm a Lord of the Rings guy, dude.
Oh, really? Yeah, that's something I didn't get into.
I like that. I like The Hobbit. Like, I'm into that kind of shit. I never thought I'd be into, like, fantasy.
You know what I like about The Lord of the Rings? All the walking.
You like that?
Yeah, all the walking they do.
You know what where it's filmed?
No.
New Zealand. And, like, when you land in the airport of New Zealand, like, they have big life-size, like, not even life-size, like, big-ass fucking statues of, like Lord of the Ring birds coming down, or, like, Schmeagol, like hanging down off the, the ceiling of the airport. Like, huge.
That's pretty badass. I have some questions about the past couple of things we talked about. Did you ever meet Matt Stone and Trey Parker, the creators of South Park?
No, but I was just at me and Steve went to an animal sanctuary in Denver, and, like, from where that was, they're like 20 minutes away. That's where they went to high school.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, in Denver, Colorado.
Yeah, so, like, they're like, that's where, like, you know, Trey Parker went to school. But no, I never met them. But just coincidentally, like, they were brought up to me like 2 weeks ago.
Wow. Yeah, those guys are legends, man. So just going back to talking about Running Scared, you know that actress Vera Farmiga? I think that's how you pronounce it.
So hot.
So hot, right? Even now, I think she's like in her late 40s. But did you see her in Bates Motel, the TV show?
Yeah, she's hot. Did you see her in Up in Air with George Clooney?
I didn't see that one.
Yeah, she does a scene where, like, she walks by and you see, like, her butt and her, like, side boobs, and she's got a good body.
Whoa. I gotta check that out a little later. I'm just messing around. But did you see the whole Bates Motel? Like, I think it was 4 seasons, 5 seasons.
I think I did, to be honest with you.
Dude, she's phenomenal. She instantly became my favorite actress after that TV show because she reminded me so. her character on Bates Motel was so impulsive and crazy, and it reminded me of somebody that I knew, like, in real life. Like, she even kind of looked like her.
That's crazy. Well, I fell in love with her in The Departed.
Oh yeah, that is the other one she was in.
She was the psychologist in The Departed.
Yeah, I don't remember. Was that a big role in the movie?
Yeah, I mean, she kind of played a pretty pivotal role.
Yeah, it's been a few years since I saw that one. Well, since we're talking about The Departed, Jack Nicholson is in that movie. Have you ever seen One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest?
I have.
What do you think of that? You think it's better than The Shining?
Yeah, I think so. I think The Shining is just kind of like one of those movies that like you watch when it's on TV.
Yeah.
And like you're sick. You just happen to like see it. You're like, all right, fuck it, I'll watch it.
That's true. I do recall passing by in the hallway and seeing the movie just randomly on
exactly.
On cable.
I mean, Jack Nicholson's got to be up there.
Yeah.
I think he's like 85.
Oh yeah, man, and I think it was like 4 or 5 years ago that he like officially retired acting because he couldn't remember his lines anymore.
Oh really?
Yeah, I remember reading that and I was super sad about it.
Yeah, it's gotta be rough. I think I heard that like Eric Clapton couldn't play the guitar anymore.
No way.
Yeah, they're saying that, talking about that on Howard Stern, like his hands just wouldn't do it, and it's like that's got to be like frustrating because that's probably like that's all, you know what I mean? That's like an extension of his body.
That's heartbreaking, man.
Isn't that heartbreaking?
Yeah, and you know, that freaks me out a lot because it seems like your life just gets depressing the older you get, right? Because you're not able to do as much stuff as before. Like, I've been thinking about that a lot lately.
I mean, I think if you take care of yourself and you live healthy, like, I think things change, and you kind of, like, you know, you just acclimate to it, and, I mean, I got an uncle who's 60, and he's still surfing every day.
Wow.
And he's got a better body than anybody I know, you know, so I think just it's kind of how you take care of yourself. You know, I mean, obviously, like, if you kind of, like, grow up in an environment where, like, you know, it's, like, normal to take medication and to eat unhealthy and all that, like, I think just it's kind of like that's what will happen to you.
Yeah, you're doomed. Would you say you're doomed for a life of unhealthy?
Yeah, I think you kind of adapt to your surrounding, and I think, like, you know, everything's energy, and so it's like if you surround yourself with like people that are always complaining about being sick and fucking, you know, so you're probably going to grow up and have a lot of health issues. But like if you grow up with people that are running and hiking every day and like outdoors and gardening, it's like you're not going to have as much health issues as the latter.
I gotta ask you what you think about my diet because it's been a lot of conversations about my diet lately. Some people saying that I'm living an unhealthy lifestyle. And
well, you are what you eat.
So check this out. If I eat four hard-boiled eggs in the morning and a coffee and then a can of beans for lunch, I don't have like a real meal until after 5 p.m., which is usually rice with tofu and vegetables. And then if I'm still hungry after that, I eat a can of tuna. Is this a healthy diet or not?
I don't know, dude. Like, I'm not like a nutritionist,
Mm-hmm.
but I would say, you know, it's always better to eat live foods. I think it's important to try to eat the color of the rainbow every day.
Yeah.
I also feel like, you know, water is really important. And I would say the only problem, like, you know, you're getting protein, you're getting all that, but I think, like, the canned stuff has a lot of sodium. And I think that's really bad for your kidneys. But with that said, I had a breakfast burrito this morning and that's it. So I'm one to talk. But I know that, like, for the most part, like, you know, you are what you eat, right? And the way you think is the way you feel. So, like, I think, like, if you eat healthy, like, you'll start thinking healthy. And if you, like, it's just kind of all connected. And I know, like, a lot of, like, the gurus of India talk about some of the most spiritual foods are, like, fruits and stuff. And they have, like, a pretty high frequency. Like, so when you eat them, like, it'll make you kind of vibrate at a healthy frequency. Therefore, you can attract, like, good things. Like, I don't know whether that's true or not, but I just think that, like when you eat fucking mangoes and bananas and, like, whatever, like, you feel better and you kind of have a little pep to your step. So when you eat, like, dead food like that, like, you kind of, like, drags you down.
When you eat what kind of food, it drags you down? Like,
just, like, dead foods, like a can of beans and, like, canned, it's like, I think it's, I mean, I don't know, like, bodybuilders eat that shit and they're, like, buff. Like, so I don't even know what I'm talking about. But if I think just for the most part, like, it's always, like, a nice green salad that's colorful and fucking with some, like, chicken on top.
No.
You know, I think that's a pretty good balance.
No, you're on point with what you're saying, because it does drag me down a lot to eat beans. I mean, it makes me dread going on my lunch break, because I'm like, ugh, can of beans again. And sometimes I won't even eat it, because I'm just dreading eating it.
Why are you bringing cans of beans to work?
Just so I can lose weight.
How much weight are you trying to lose?
Well, in the past 3.5 months, I lost 31 pounds.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
What's your goal?
My goal, I'm trying to lose like another 10 to 15 pounds.
How fucking big were you? You weren't fat.
I just threw in the good looks with it, so it's hard to tell. But
really?
Yeah. I just look. I'm just handsome, so it's really hard to tell if I'm fat.
Yeah, I didn't think you had 30 pounds to lose, but I don't know. Well, good for you. I mean, then lose 10 more pounds and probably knock that shit off.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think that I was I think that I was about 30 pounds overweight, but now I'm thinking I was 40 pounds overweight the whole time. So I look a lot better than I did before, man, and I'll tell you what, I have a lot less back problems.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, I'm surprised you don't have a lot of energy since you lost all that weight.
Yeah, and like, I had this, what's called sciatic nerve pain, and when it triggers, it disables you. Like, you can't move, dude. Yeah, dude, I hope to God that never happens to me. Dude, you know, it's funny, I'm taking a piss right now on Coast Highway, and I'm staring at the ocean. How's that for fucking... That's beautiful. I'm at one of the most prettiest places in the world. Where?
In my opinion. I'm out, there's an exit on Coast Highway called Deer Creek. And it's, like, really secluded up in, like, northern Malibu. Like, Malibu's, like, 27 miles of coastline.
Yeah.
And I'm at, like, the very, very north end, where they do, like, car commercials and shit.
Why are you on the side of the road?
Oh, because I pull over and just kind of, like, sit by the ocean and fucking meditate. And then I figured this was a good spot to, like, shoot the shit with you. It's, like, the first day I've had off in, like, 3 months. And so, like, I'm just kind of taking it easy today.
Wow.
And I haven't done shit today, and it feels great. So I'm just kind of like driving up the coast, having some coffee, kind of just taking my time today. So
what do you do every day?
Like tomorrow I got like 300 books coming to Steve's house that we got to sign, and then I got to like go over flights with him. I got to book hotels for our next venue.
Wow, and how far is Steve-O from you?
He's like an hour with traffic. So I get a lot of like, I can catch up on all the news and just like, I listen to YouTube videos while I drive. So like, I could just kind of catch up on shit.
Oh, sweet. Is there any YouTube videos in particular that you listen to?
Like, I like to catch up on like UFC news. What else? Like, I've been listening to a lot of like near-death experiences on YouTube. Like people telling their afterlife stories, like people that like die and then like see the light and then like see their body and then go through the tunnel and then come back and talk about it. Like, there's like a lot of those stories. That's pretty interesting. That's
scary, dude. Does that ever creep you out?
It's kind of actually made me like okay with like you know, what happens after that shit, because everybody talks about, like, they pretty much say the same thing, and they say it's really peaceful, and most of, like, 99% of the time, they're like, dude, I honestly can't wait, because it's such a good feeling that, like, you know, when I die or when it happens again, like, it'll be a nice place to go to.
Wow, that's crazy, man, because I have an aunt that actually has a story like that. She's really old, man, and she that happened to her. Like, she died and then, like, was going to heaven, and then somebody else, like, who has passed away in the afterlife told her, no, you can't come in yet, like, they still need you, you know. And so the doctors said that she was dead, like, she was declared dead already. And then she came back to life, and she, like, immediately told them what happened. And yeah, that's pretty crazy. So
like, dude, you might like that, and, like, you check it out. It's called, like, NDEers, or near-death experience, and, like, they all tell their story, and it's all similar stories like that, and it's, like, really fascinating. And a lot of crazy stuff is, like, people will be dead in the hospital, and they'll know, like in the waiting room, what the conversations people are having, and like when he woke up, like, he's like, you know, why'd you tell, you know, hey Dad, why'd you tell Mom, da 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 da, and they're like, how did you know we said that? He's like, well, when I was going through the hallways after I died, like, I heard your guys' conversation, and there's no way they could have heard what we were talking about. You know, and they like call out what people were doing. It's crazy.
that's probably the deepest one I've heard.
Dude, there's a guy that, like, was dying of brain cancer, and he died, and he was out for, like, an hour and a half. Like, he was dead, right? And then he came back to life. And there's, like, a weird thing. Like, the longer you're out for, the more enlightened you are when you come back. And, like, dude, he's solving fucking, like, mathematical equations, and he's, like, consulting for businesses and, like, hooking them up because he's just kind of, like, more intuitive now. It's weird. He talks about that a lot. He's, like, one of the most famous one, but I guess there's a guy that was out for, like, a day, and he came back to life. He came back to life in the mortuary, in the freezer.
No freaking way.
And like, that person's, like, the longest case of like, a near-death experience of, like, actually dying and being dead and coming back to life. It's crazy stuff, dude. It's, you know. That's
crazy. And you listen to that during traffic?
I try not to listen to music that much anymore. I feel like, I don't know, dude, like, and I know a lot of people are kind of, like, won't relate to this. I feel like music's a drug, and it's a good drug, but I feel like when I listen to music, it always brings me back to, like, what they call euphoric recalling. Like, I'll think about the past, or I'll think about good times, or I'll think, kind of gets my heart rate up, and it's like, I just don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah, it takes you back to wherever
some better time.
Exactly.
But right now is a really good time for me, so I don't need to do that. I feel like, and I feel like I don't know. I just feel like I'll listen to classical music, or, you know, I just feel like I'm at a different place in my life where I'm ready to kind of, like, you know, go higher. And I just feel like listening to the same music I did in high school doesn't do that for me. Does that make sense?
I know exactly what you mean, because I'm always in search of music I haven't heard before, and I guess that's why, because I want to hear something that kind of makes its mark in my time in life right now. And I try to relate to stuff. I try to listen to stuff that I can relate to in my life today in 2019. So, have you ever tried that?
You know, the closest I've come to it, like, when I go on, like, surf trips with Steve, we'll pick an album to listen to, like, on repeat, and then like when we were on tour through Europe, we were listening to Bam's album, and it's actually a really good album. But like, it's even more cool because, like, when you hear that now, like, it takes you back to, like, you know, a cool trip we had in Europe. Or, like, when we were in South Africa, we try to listen to an album, or just different, like, trips we go on. We'll just kind of, like, play the same album on repeat.
And which album did you say it was?
Bam did an album that was actually really good. I don't know if I think it's out. I think you can hear it, but it was really. I'll send it to you.
I do remember him being on tour and posting it on Twitter and stuff like that, but I've never actually heard it. I don't even know.
I was pleasantly surprised. I was like, man, this is Bam. He's singing, and I was like, yeah, it's really good. It was a really good album.
That was Mr. Scott Randolph. I had to say goodbye to him. He was dodging phone calls just to give us a sweet interview, and I couldn't be more grateful, so thank you so much, Scott. In case you missed it, Steve-O is going to be performing at the Addison Improv in Dallas, Texas. That'll be on April 5th and 6th. I will drop a link in the description. Tickets are only $25, guys. I'm pretty sure I've spent more on a large popcorn at the movie theater, so if you're around the area, there's no reason you shouldn't make it. I do have a few more stories to share about Mr. Scott Randolph, but that'll have to be on a future episode. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Stop Potting Off in the Living Room. I am Daniel. Good night.